on either.
I'm not a fan here.
Again, G2 are looking for the Thresh. So focused on getting Hybrid the Thresh, which, let's be honest, in both the win and the loss has been almost a non-factor.
I am not a fan of what G2 is doing right now. I feel like they're trying to target Klaj way too much.
Yeah.
I mean, he can still pick at Janna if he wants to play some disengage.
He's played Soraka, not that I think it's the best of supports, but
Karma support is being used right now. Add Sivir plus Karma, and their mobility is insane. And also, you can actually match the laning phase of a Thresh with a Karma. I think Karma support would be a great pick coming in for Klaj. I'm just still surprised that G2 is targeting what we would consider the weakest member on this Fnatic lineup in this current meta right now. And a very inconsistent player. And look what they give them. Kindred, the best jungler for Spirit. Sivir, Lissandra, many teams would say this is the best combo you can have on this patch. Double TP, insane mobility, great wave clear. Fnatic are getting almost everything.
And with the Poppy Nautilus locked in, they've got a big pair of bruisers to frontline this one up. And this Sivir comp, if G2 get caught out, it's going to hurt.
Ooh, Ryze last picked out by Perkz thinks that it wasn't the pick that was the problem and also wasn't specifically the matchup for the Zed.
I don't think the Ryze was the problem. No. I think he actually came in with a plan, as we talked about, getting Thunderlord, so early damage and trying all in the Zed. It then didn't work. Specific reasons. Now you can run Teleport because it's into Lissandra. Issue is, when you do this, you don't run Cleanse. Yeah. And that means that level 6 Lissandra and her jungler can very easily gank you and all in you. It's something we've seen a lot in the past, but Perkz really wants to match this double TP and have this Ryze follow the Lissandra. So in this game, we will see a lot of pressure around that 1v1 between the two mid laners, because every single time Perkz is in a side lane, or even in the lane, after level 6 of Lissandra, a gank is possible with no cleanse on the Ryze.
Right back to the double TPs to see how much action is going to happen this one. Young Buck, Dalo are shaking hands, walking off the stage. I think this is going to be quite bloody, quite fast. We've come to expect that from these two teams, haven't we?
I mean, Fnatic have got progressively more aggressive in these games. They go game 1, Kassadin, we'll wait. Now game 3, they're like, yeah, let's take Sivir, let's take Lissandra, let's take a Poppy. It's going to be great. Let's just go all in at all times.
They might do that. If you guys agree, if you think Fnatic are going to roll away with this one to make the series 2-1, hit us up at Elable Esports, #FNC winner. G2 going to get the next win on the board. We'll have to find out. This one is going to get bloody. And we are onto the Rift.
And it's so fun watching these new pick and bans, because G2 are clearly sticking to this strategy they prepared coming into this, relying on that strong 2v2 lane with Hybrid and Emperor, and then trusting in Kikis just to match whatever tank setup he gets. Obviously, we knew it was going to be Trundle top because it was picked so early. I'm still surprised they surrendered to Sivir Lissandra. Spirit might get caught out. Kikis will have to start Pillar most likely, and he won't.
Oh, well, he will. That's okay. No, that's worth.
Hybrid, that was the Thresh time to shine if that hook hits over the wall.
If he knew he was going to flash it, it's like, mad life.
Yeah.
Didn't take the shot, he missed.
Well, that cost that Kikis a bit in the early game. They're level 1 now with the pillar. It's not very scary.
Well, here's a question for you, though, Deficio. G2 have been sticking to the game plan, which has so far only worked out for them one of those times, and it was off a pretty hectic fight that ended that game.
I mean, they got 50% win rate, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, but let's think about this, though. This is their first best of 5 in the LCS. Is this a weakness that's being revealed right now?
I think it's G2 who practiced something in scrims that worked extremely well for them, and I feel like this is the best way for them to win right now. And they won't change unless they feel really forced to. So obviously by changing up the picks and the bans a little bit, again we had the Kindred ban was lifted, it was Nidalee ban instead. First pick of Kindred coming in for Spirit. They are changing up certain things and then picking the supports. I still don't feel Klaj is the man you need to target on Fnatic though.
I would completely agree with that.
Oh, over the red buff. Spirit. Emperor had to flash that one after the exhaust was on him, and it's just going to delay things for everybody. No one's happy with that.
Fnatic just had to commit a lot up to that red buff, take for themselves. So we'll see how that ripple affects through the game. Gamsu did use his teleport to get to the top lane as well here. So I'm just going to check the experience difference. It's even. Ever so even, but Gamsu has a slight amount more.
They both managed to get in just when the melee minions were dying. Obviously, again, after the change, but all the melee minions will happily start hitting each other. You don't have the RNG. But once again, Perkz is running Thunderlords as his keystone, so very clearly he's playing a much more aggressive Ryze in the laning phase compared to what we see over in the LCK and even in NALCS.
Definitely the case. Perkz, last time he didn't go down too quickly, so he wasn't incredibly squishy despite that. But relying on that damage output, he just wasn't able to put it out. I mean, the closest he came was popping Febiven, or nearly popping him in the beginning, and Trick just not being able to polish him off, leaving at that 7 HP mark. Speaking of marks, Spirit will have not too hard of a gathering one.
Winning the lottery early.
Yeah, sometimes RNG sometimes is in your favor.
Yeah, and for this this Kindred pick on Spirit, I mean, whether Fnatic pivoted after their first pick or not remains to be seen, but they got a lot of freedom for kind of a teamfight setup and aggressive plays early on, because Kindred's going to synergize very well with the Lissandra, with the Civic, keep everybody alive on your team, and after you've taken down the enemy, whoever you're looking for, just kind of walk away and you're all fine. Hook lands on the bottom lane. This is going to be another walk away and you're fine moment for Klaj here. I don't really think it's going to result in too much.
But again, G2 is looking for this scaling teamfight composition where you have Graves as a teamfighting jungler in the late game. Sterix more, you become very, very tanky as a bruiser. Of course, you have now the Trundle to steal away stats from the Puppey up in the 1v1 and also in the teamfights, and then the scaling Ryze. So one more time, G2 is looking for a lot of scaling. But it will sacrifice, if we look at the mid game, where this Lissandra is going to be extremely powerful. Kindred as well has a very, very strong mid game. Good early farm. And we need to see Fnatic one more time. Play fast, play aggressive. And I want to see them gank this Ryze once you hit level 6 on Febiven, because again, he has no cleanse.
Starting to prep for that possibility, throws himself a ward down. Meanwhile, let's go back up to the top side where Gamsu and Kikis. This time Kikis is looking for revenge from last game. Look at that damage he's able to dish out. Grasp for the Undying proc, flashes, jumps, and that's first blood to Kikis.
And there's the punish on Gamsu not having his flash from earlier. He means he cannot take that effective trade time and time again. Kikis, this is kind of a knock-on effect from Kikis actually getting level 2 ever so slightly earlier than Gamsu, and put damage down early. Bottom lane.
Laid back. Trick's there as well. The heal is on, and he ends of the lines. Klaj very low, but not quite enough. Trick was actually taking a lot of damage as well, but in the end, Fnatic will be able to save their bot lane.
And Hybrid used his Ignite in that exchange. The whole reason you would take that is in lane to try and have that kill pressure, and they could not capitalize on it. Klaj, yes, he burned his flash and the heal from Rekkles. It is a nice little exchange, but keep in mind now that Klaj has his exhaust. In another trade like that, the kill pressure will no longer be there for G2.
But again, this is what G2 were looking for in the last game. Have that strong 2v2. That's why they keep early picking Thresh for Hybrid, trusting in him and Emperor to win that 2v2 lane. For now, they're not winning in terms of farm. Actually, also being forced to go back after that trade, and Rekkles will be able to push out. But you have pressure. You want to push it in. You want to set up kills. And then, of course, again, the scaling champion in the mid lane for Perkz. So it's a bit of the same style for them as a team. Also, the Ignite maybe late game against a Kindred ulti can prove useful, but typically it's on multiple members, and then obviously it becomes difficult to find their one target, and the heal isn't even that massive.
Not too much trouble. Let's start these things off. G2 still trying to play the aggressive game, but they are content with doing it in the lanes for right now. Trick going to step forward, and we'll find that pink ward in the brush. Hybrid and Emperor still a little bit down in the farm, but Cole's on both sides now just to try and catch up with her, buckling in for a fairly long laning phase. Some
other itemization. There was some discussion on the analyst desk earlier about jungle items, but jungle is a core.
Yeah, indeed. Trick is going to go pretty low on this one. Febiven trying to cut him off at the pass, and he takes him out with the Ice Shard. Now, Spirit's going to fall after, and a quick flash from Perkz. Teleport now in the middle as Klaj has joined the fray, and in comes Kikis. Ice Pillar onto Febiven. Can they chase him down? One bite, another hit from the Ryze, and that is a double kill. Perkz is going to get rolling this game after all.
Well, that looked very, very scary at first, because Trick was actually invading when his mid laner was recalling out of mana. The Teardrop gave enough mana back to Perkz, so once the fight started, he would come in, and the Ryze damage, it is insane. When you stand there and you just machine gun your way through, you max Q now, you can take down these squishies very, very quickly. There was no ulti from Spirit because he's only level 5. And also good teleport from Kikis coming in. So, like, look here. Perkz just canceled his recall. So he's running down. He's actually behind. Not even that much mana. But then all the focus is on the Graves at the moment. And then Perkz just turns on the power. Spirit, no ulti for him, obviously. Goes down very quickly. Nice flash over the wall. And now good reaction TP as well from Kikis to secure another kill.
And Gamsu didn't follow. Gamsu did not go down into that middle lane lane, despite having his teleport available, chose to just stay in the top lane and try and expand, or at least recuperate a little bit of what was lost in the 1v1 exchange from Kikis killing Gamsu earlier. What that will do now is give Fnatic the opportunity to orchestrate a similar play in the coming moments of the game, but Perkz' TP is going to be up fairly soon.
Yeah, he will match.
Should be able to match it 1-for-1.
Slim lead over to G2, mostly in Perkz' pockets. And still trying to play aggressive around the side. Skelecrab's being taken. Spirit actually getting invaded here by Trick, who's biding his time. Red buff on red buff. Who's going to come out ahead of this one? And the line, oh, it's just into the wall, though, and it pops quick.
Oh, that feels bad.
Yeah. It's okay. They're going to go for up top instead. Gamsu is going to get some help from Spirit, but look at that quick rune prison on the back of that one. Hammer wind up, and they are out of there.
Spirit knowing something was going to happen on top side with Trick just invading in. Of course, Perkz had already left the mid lane. Have to remember again with this Thunderlords, the early power this Ryze will bring, it can surprise you. 2 early kills for him. Trick getting a blue buff, more pressure on top side. Kikis is fairly low. Trick might just try and dive him one more time. The Spirit is here.
Yeah, Kikis, he might have stepped a little too far forward. He does not have any mana to speak of, and Gamsu runs him into
Honestly,
the fountain pretty much.
That's where you get baited by your jungler.
Yep.
Trick is like, I got double buff, I'm extremely strong, push him into tower, we can go for dive. Perkz will have TP very soon, and then Spirit just sitting ready on the tower, and Kikis is very, very low, and he's like, oh, okay, well now I'm dead.
It's a trick. Sometimes it happens. Gamsu Spirit now will be able to both back away and let the minions crash right into that one. Emperor's been shoved back a little bit, and Rekkles and Klaj continue to be happy with this farm in the bottom side. Back in the mid, it's pretty even as well, so game continues.
Yeah.
Pretty close to even.
Pretty even from at least those standpoints, and we're starting to see a couple of items be completed. I want to touch a little bit on the jungle itemization the analyst has talked about earlier. Whether it was going to be challenging Smite, whether it was Tracker's Knife that was going to come out in Spirit, we've seen pretty much challenging Smite on everybody that's playing Kindred. It's very standard. We've started to see it more and more on other junglers as well, specifically in LCK, where even like Elise takes it because you want the extra trading potential. We have seen Graves take it as well out of the jungle, but Trick opting away from that this game, wants the extra vision control, and you heard Vander and the rest of the analysts talk about how Trick is a very vision-based jungler, and they expect him to go for that Tracker's Knife a lot more frequently than he ever goes challenging.
Making up for the fact that Hybrid is not too focused always on the vision part and has been behind other supports.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point that you bring up there, actually, because Hybrid is actually only ranked 6th for his amount of wards per minute that he places. Compare that to Klaj, who has actually gone up to rank 2 of all supports. So
Gank the bot lane.
A lot of vision means you should be able to avoid ganks, but not this time, Klaj.
As tanky as he was trying to be, he's completely cut off, and Emperor will manage to grab him, annihilating that health bar all the way down to 0. Gamsu gets the windup and smacks Kikis back to a little bit closer to his tower. Febiven, meanwhile, will get a little bit more time to gnaw away at this tower in the mid side. Still, movements all around the map, but G2, they rove as a unit, and they punish Klaj for being just a smidgen out of position.
Yeah, good use of Lantern here by Hybrid, playing out a bit of vision, then realizing, oh, Klaj's actually moved into the river. We can just move behind him, collapse on him, so they Lantern in Perkz as well. Go down for another kill. Spirit might be caught out.
Might have to hop some things. Dance of arrows just a couple of times, and Gamsu's come to the rescue. They turn on to Kikis. Look at that damage they keep putting out, and now Kikis is gonna fall. Perkz now caught up, and he is put in tomb. Trick coming in for the defense, but it was not going to be enough damage to save anyone. 2 for 0 to Fnatic.
G2 will never back away from a fight. So when they see someone in the river like, oh, you might be caught out, we're going to go for this one. Not realizing that, first of all, the Kindred would have ulti to buy more time. Spirit also jumps up towards the top side because he knows, of course, Gamsu's coming down. Now another fight, by the way.
It just doesn't stop with these teams. On the hunt, though. Teleport coming in. There's no tower to fall back to, so now Kikis will turn his attention towards Klaj, and Death Charge will pop him up, but he does come right back on down. Summoning Heal from Emperor to get the speed out, but Kikis clubs him to death instead. And now there's a teleport up top to try and save it, but Perkz has opted into a 1v2. 1v3, take that, as Febiven comes in. He's not got an ult to really do much more, but look at how much he was able to shred through the health bar of Spirit, who stays alive just roving through the jungle. This tower's gonna fall eventually, though.
This just got pretty messy, and a lot of it was from Fnatic extending pretty far. I mean, you know you're too far up if a Trundle can come and stick on you without ever using his pillar, and manages to get the kill. Now G2 are going to push the bottom lane and try and even up a tower trade.
It is Fnatic overextending, but also G2 setting up those deep wards before, so they had a TP location. It's something we always have to look at, is it a team putting a deep ward and waiting for you to overextend and then teleporting, or you just randomly do it?
Deep
now,
in the lane.
Gamsu is very, very far behind.
Oh, he's got a journey to take, but it won't be
Marathon
very
man.
magical here.
He's gonna get Emperor.
Will run into him eventually, but Gamsu's actually gonna opt to try and look for Kikis. No, turns his attention, steadfast presence, quick flash out of Emperor. They still get him. Anyone should have seen that one coming. And now Hybrid is going to get taken out as he's stopped up by the Shortkeeper's verdict. And that's going to be 2 quick kills over to Fnatic.
Somebody start playing Chariots of Fire. We just saw a Yordle do the 100-meter dash to try and get a kill on that one. Manages to get in, and Rekkles comes over and goes, my kill. I'll take that away from
very
you.
dangerous over short distances. Natural-born sprinters, if you will. Now Fnatic find themselves still bang on even, with 1 tower to 2 against them. 6 kills to 5, rather. They can start turning with the Dragon. I mean, this game is starting to get real hectic.
Yeah, and obviously even in gold for now, but this benefits G2 a lot more. You have the scaling Ryze, even the scaling jungler in this case here, and also Trundle late game, who makes it a lot harder for Poppy to play that frontline tank. So right now it's very good for G2. Perkz, TPZ looks very bad at first because Febiven can join, but because there's no ulti for this Lissandra, not able to lock down Perkz, and I'm pretty sure his Ryze is doing more damage than mine when he's just standing there machine gunning away. Because every time Fnatic gets even close to him, he almost instant pops someone. Tower does go down, and then we are going to swap down to the bottom side.
And here was the teleport out of the Poppy. So it was the 2v3 for just a second, and then Gamsu said,
I mean, he had no other wards, and that one just disappeared as soon as he teleported to it.
The only option, I wonder, did Hybrid actually have his Lantern available here? I think he just used it earlier on getting Trundle out, so couldn't quite save the life. And ultimately, it was another kill. You know who's really benefited from the last few minutes of play here? Spirit, individually. So he picks up his Devourer, instantly gets 2 kills up in top river, comes down to the bottom lane, gets another kill and an assist, then gets a Dragon and picks up a couple of Scuttlers at the same time. He's just gone from 0 stacks on his Devourer to 17 very quickly.
Oh, wow.
That's going to be a pretty big threat. I hope he's been putting his mark on the right people at the right time. G2 have pretty heavily invested in this top tower. Now, Febiven could be in some trouble here, but the end of the line is dodged out as it runs right into the wall. They still will be able to grab this tower, and Fnatic a little bit slower to react, or mostly hanging out in the jungle at the bottom side.
Well, they are pushing in the mid lane, Pyro, right now.
That too.
And Perkz is here.
Yeah, that is going to be the tower down, but Perkz will also fall, or rather, I should say,
Oh, he
will
just
also
snuck
fall.
through it.
Perkz keeps chasing through, and that was a very, very thin squeeze through that pillar of ice.
This game is just play-by-play heaven. Like, Pyro, you're just taking over the cast right now because it's constant just fighting and then trading a little
Give
bit.
me the mic to Fishio.
You know, the viewers, they wanted kills, they wanted action, they're getting it right now.
Yep, welcome to the EU LCS playoffs. That's another tower going down. The total is now 5-2-3. G2 looking to try to make that 1-6, but in comes Febiven, and he gets the Frozen Tomb off. Self-cast, look at all that damage coming out there, but G2 are still backing away. Only Hybrid is out of this one. And Fnatic very low, but they do defend turret.
Oh man, the cojones on Febiven to go in on that one. 1v5 goes, got this guys, E in, ult myself. It's okay, I've got Spirit coming in. Even gets himself out alive from that situation. He managed, to delay G2 for so long that I think G2 are actually going to reconsider that kind of 5-man push once again against Lissandra. Very rarely is Lissandra at this situation going to go in. He had Rekkles around himself, Spirit coming from the side, so Febiven makes the right decision there. Hardly even goes low because he just ults himself, flashes back out.
We have to keep in mind there's not really anything that's going to stop him from instant ulting himself.
No.
It's not like a Soraka putting down a silence. Maybe a perfect flay from Hybrid or perfect time pillar from Kikis will delay him slightly. Other than that, it's very, very tough. Like, okay, time the hook maybe. And that's about it. Otherwise, he can always ult himself. He can also get caught out.
Might do. There's the flay backwards, just cutting off his retreat path. The Spirit's here, the teleport. These fights just keep on happening. They're in the Wolf's Frenzy right now, and Hybrid, he's going down. That Spirit going big on this one. And now there's just fights on 2 fronts. Can Spirit stay alive? He just keeps dancing around, and he's maybe going to get this one. No, but the flash forward, and that's going to be Trick managing to get out alive. Febiven, though, will finally fall. That is a 1-2-2, and Fnatic on the retreat now. Amskrang back to base.
Kikis doesn't care about your fun, Pyra. He's just going to kill this Kindred every single time.
This is the most bloodthirsty I've seen Kikis in a little while. He's definitely been able to step up to the plate after having a real rough game number 2.
Yeah, of course, also Gamsu got put behind early on, had to use early teleport, had no flash as well, and then suddenly the Trundle level 4 all in. Famous level 4 power spike. takes him down. Early QSS, obviously against the Trundle. Not really enough to ruin the matchup for Trundle. Yes, okay, you won't be destroyed by the ulti anymore, but he's still gonna just smack you in the head over and over, and he's gonna push you down. Febiven recalling very far out in the lane. He's pushing out on his own, which is something you normally don't want to do. And then we see the fight. Spirit has a ton of damage. Stress, we talked about all the stacks.
So much damage. Unfortunately, didn't have his ultimate for this fight, so he would have killed straight up at this point.
And he has Kikis.
He nearly does as it is, but that flash away.
Febiven's fancy feet at the beginning of
we're
this
still having a fight now. Look
yeah.
at that, all of a sudden. Perkz just machine guns him down, and they had a little bit of help from his friend Trick. Now it's going to be inner tower siege done, but they don't have a minion wave, so they got to turn their attention elsewhere.
And a big thing in this game is that this Ryze pick have not been punished for not running cleanse.
No?
We haven't seen like an early gank onto him right there. It was actually onto Trick around the mid lane and ended up in a fight giving 2 kills to Perkz very early. He's not been punished early on. He's been able to scale up already.
He's got 4 kills.
We're 18 minutes in.
Dancing around Kikis, dancing around Perkz. Spirit going big on this one. G2 still pretty deep in Fnatic territory without being punished too hard for it. Now the Dragon's up in a minute.
I felt like it was a very, very risky pick and ban phase still from G2, you know, giving over Lissandra, giving over the Sivir. They put so much focus on taking supports away. And Klaj picked Nautilus, who used to be a good matchup into Thresh in the early laning phase, but later on he does absolutely nothing. And Klaj has been caught out quite a few times.
Risks have paid off this time around. G2 are that team. We're just approaching just shy of that 20-minute mark, and it has been a lot of back and forth. 8 to 9 in the kill department. It's not quite 1 per minute, but this has been a marquee matchup for sure. Perkz just zoning away, defending all the flanks, or defending all the lanes as best they can, and really not a whole lot of emphasis on these side objectives. Of course, it's still fairly early into the game. I can't wait until the Baron starts becoming a factor, because if the fights are this hot right now, that's going to be nuts.
But look at how Fnatic have now got to try and find the right fights. Look at the bottom side vision that G2 have already. You can see Fnatic coming from a mile away. So actually G2 getting caught out, even into a Sivir and a Lissandra kind of composition, G2 should have enough information to go, okay, well, we can see these people in the bottom side jungle, let's not go in there. Or you don't see them and they're like, well, they could be coming from this angle. So it's always the absence of information that gives you sometimes the most. At least it tells you which paths that you can clear very effectively.
All these wards will run out very soon though. And then we kind of have to reset the map a little bit. Fnatic straight onto the Dragon with the Kindred. And G2 at the moment are waiting for these teleports. They're gonna wait to set up the deep vision one more time, and now we have a fully stacked Kindred. 20 minutes in. Perkz and his team, I mean, when you run with Perkz right now, you know he will deal a lot of damage. You have Kikis as well to make it even easier. Like, oh, is that tank in front of me? It's not that tank anymore. Perkz still shouldn't have tried 1v5.
Oh, on the hunt's already popped, and the Fnatic gang squad trying to come up huge here. They knock him back in, but this is getting real hectic, and the Lamb's Respite will buy a little bit of time. Teleport coming out from the backside, and it's Febiven trying to get his way into the fight, but meanwhile, it's already nearly over. Glacial Path, Febiven round the back, nearly melts through Perkz, but not enough damage. Trick manages to get the blowback and finish him off. Kikis now on the chase. Fnatic just vaporized. 3 kills to 0 in G2's pocket, and it's gonna be 4. Gamsu, no way he's getting out of this one with his life.
And you've got to look at the decision-making in this fight from Spirit. Does he ult to keep himself alive, which ultimately Perkz stands on as well, and it keeps Ryze able to just keep throwing out abilities time and time again, gets added damage, or do you let yourself fall and have Perkz die at the same time? Which is more integral to this fight? Well, G2 just crushed that fight, and they've just taken themselves the inhibitor.
I definitely take the Ryze down with me, for sure. Spirit thought he was helping. Now he was actually helping G2 in this fight. Perkz at first, like, this looks pretty scary, right? He just goes there and even starts doing Raptor. He's all alone right now. Fnatic realizes they jump on him. And then we just got to see the TB, where does it come from Febiven? He's actually recalling first before teleports. He's extremely late for this fight. Right now it's a 4v5, and here's the Spirit ulti you talked about.
Should be dead.
Yeah, he should just trade his life for Perkz for sure. And even, I think the passive in the very end is proc for Perkz and makes him stay alive.
Perkz is the honey badger of G2, and it's allowed them to set up so many ballsy plays, but Fnatic, they just get baited into it. A big gold swing for G2 Esports now, 22 minutes into this game. This starts to affect how well Fnatic can line up for this Baron.
Well, one of the big problems for Fnatic is the actual scaling component of their team is way outscaled by what G2 have got to bring here. And the fact that this Ryze is ahead, the Trundle can shred through what armor Fnatic and, you know, the resistances they're going to have available, and then Perkz just kills everybody.
And this is what we talked about earlier, when it was extremely messy, constant trading. It was in favor of G2,
yeah,
because they stayed even in gold in the early game, where Fnatic were looking to have a very, very strong mid game. We haven't really seen these side lanes being much of a factor, because it's been constant fighting over and over. Whenever your teleport is ready, it seems like you just use it and you just engage in a team fight.
Just go.
Yeah. Whenever one of the teleports even is available, it's just been constant back and forth. Now we pretty much are on a kill a minute, but G2 are earning the lion's share of that one with 5,000 gold in the lead right now, and they will slip themselves into the Baron pit to start this one off just outside of Skullcrab vision. Fnatic don't have a clue this is happening.
Well, if somebody was watching on the crab,
There we
you'd
go.
see the frozen domain that was there, but now the blue trinket's gone.
It's already nearly out. Teleport coming in here. They should be able to secure this. They pull Spirit right on in. See if they can get it. Yes, they secure it. Now Spirit going incredibly low as he puts the Lamster Spite on. Everyone's getting bangarang all around the front and the back side of the pit. Kikis is shut down. Klaj, the only member of Fnatic, actually lost there. So it's a 2-for-1 in favor of Fnatic.
Yeah, Gamsu came in, teleported in, and so did Perkz, but then Gamsu said, "You're not going to be here." He just knocked him straight out, and he actually knocked him all the way back to Raptor Cab. So Perkz wasn't there, the strongest member of G2. They lose 2 guys, they get the Baron, and now he's here.
And Spirit is out. Ryze came back from Africa, guys, and he was able to come up big.
Yeah, at this point, he's just pushing down that top lane with the Baron buff up, and that's the difficulty is, okay, Fnatic get the Ryze out of the fight, but you also save him and allow him to just go, hey, I can just use this Baron buff to my full effect, and nobody can stand in front of me. So here we go. Here was this fight. You're going to see the hammer fall fairly soon.
But like, this is so smart. When the only vision the other team has is a Rift Scuttler, you use your Thresh and the Lantern to pull in the only guy who doesn't have a dash over to the Trundle. But then look here, 2 guys coming in, Perkz like, oh, I'm joining, and then Gamsu's like, no, you're not. Out with him. And then suddenly they can win the fight, but you still lost the Baron.
Yeah.
And there's still gonna be a full HP Ryze coming, running at you.
It's just delaying the problem. It's just like, we'll deal with this in a moment.
It's just a nightmare.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the bad dream for Spirit right there. So even though he's been able to come up pretty big this game in that very quickly stacked State of Devour, it's been insane.
Only 800 damage from Perkz in that fight.
Yeah, that's not really fair, though, is it?
No, I know. Just looking at it. Perkz, why didn't you do more? Oh, it flew halfway across the map.
So 1 QW was 800 damage.
That's quite a lot of damage when you look at it.
Kind of scary.
Big old spell rotation out of him, and he's
I mean, this
not getting any slower.
This is a pick that's almost permanent by now in Korea.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been played so much, and if it's not permanent, you pick it very, very early on. Europe has been very slow to catching on, except for Unicorns of Love, where Chachi have been playing it and it got caught, got banned away. And now Perkz is showing it 2 games in a row. The first game, it didn't work because he put so much focus on winning the early game. Didn't get that 1 kill, and that's again why G2's combo also fell apart very quickly, and then Kikis died 1v1. But in this one, he got the 2 early kills. The Ryze pick is in full effect. And also the rest of G2, obviously, it's more than just Perkz, right? It's the rest of the team here.
Oh! Instant Lamster Spite, but that may not be enough. Trick just keeps getting popped around this one, but he's staying alive for now. Manages to just get shut down as Gamsu takes him out here, but Klaj and Spirit are already out of this one. The Frozen Tomb was on, but Trick is able to get that kill onto Spirit, and now Gamsu's caught in on the second wind hook, flashing away, but will it be enough? Play backwards, no, Grasp of the Undying proc saves his life, but Fnatic are retreating into their own fountain here. Perkz on the chase, nowhere is safe from this Ryze. And he yanks himself back with the help of a lantern. That's another inhibitor turret gone. The inhibitor will fall. G2 are just controlling this one.
Hate to say it, Pirate, but the fountain is still pretty safe against Ryze. Question
Might be the only place left.
is there any other place? Probably not.
Probably not, especially when you look at how G2 have just taken control of the last 10 minutes of this game. All of that clashing heads early results in Perkz being a monster in this game.
And also, if we can look at the pick and ban phase and we take a step back, the Echo ban clearly told us, you know, Kikis is not going to play Echo. Because they could have just early rotated it when we knew there was a jungle first pick coming. Instead, you remove it and you take a much simpler matchup. Like, Trundle into Poppy, it's very straightforward.
Yeah.
Especially for the Trundle, which was early picked as both denying it from Klaj, but also giving that good matchup for Kikis. Because once you start removing some of these tanks, then very quickly Poppy becomes the next big option. This is just a good little engage from G2 at first, but then the Kindred ulti buys time. Trick didn't have enough time though.
Not quite enough time, but you know who did? Perkz at this point. It's like, well, I've got the time to turn around, put all the damage down. Just grazed, or like just passed by him with that hammer.
And we've not really seen Febiven have an impact in this game.
No.
On Lissandra. Such a strong pick in the current meta. Obviously early on in the lane, with the 2 early kills for Perkz, set him behind. But then also he's been caught in side lanes. That big crucial fight we saw around the Raptor camp, if we go like 10 minutes back, it was very late teleport coming in from the Lissandra as well, because Febiven wanted to recall first. In a fight like this, it's an ulti onto Trundle, obviously a 0 impact, so we haven't really seen Fnatic utilize this pick.
And a lot of that is because they haven't been able to get the right angles for Febiven to start a fight. We saw Febiven go for head-on 1v5, which worked, and that was probably the most impact he had in the entire game, was going 1v5, managing to take a kill and denying G2's actual
That
push.
was basically the fight.
Exactly, but they haven't been able to get that kind of angle again, where G2 don't get punished.
And they definitely do here. Hybrid going very low, but nearly not getting enough damage on that one. Rekkles turning on to Emperor. Can they finally turn this fight around? Rekkles does get the hill. Trick is knocked right back into the rest of them, but he does secure Rekkles on the back of it. And Fnatic have nothing left in the tank. Spirit is out. Febiven, the last man standing.
Are you
and
safe
he
in the
goes
fountain?
golden right on the fountain. He might be safe, but their Nexus is not. 1 turret, 2 turrets, 29 minutes. And G2 Esports make a huge statement. They want to go to finals, and they will be 1 game away from doing it. As soon as they take that one.
We're going to find out he's safe in the fountain.
He is.
Apparently so.
He is safe.